What's up and welcome to another episode of Chopstick Travel. My name's Luke Martin and today we have a special episode for you. We are in Hong Kong, one of my favorite cities in all of Asia. We're just here for one day and one day only. We've come to eat some food, but also because we are invited to the Hong Kong International Wine and Spirits Fair. So later today we're going to be taking you there, showing you that, and hopefully having a lot of fun at the event. But first, we are hungry and we have come to get some breakfast, so let's go to our first spot. So we're at this really cool little noodle shop right here in central Hong Kong Island. That's where we're going to be spending our whole day today, on the island of Hong Kong. This restaurant is called Mak An Kee and they're famous for their wonton noodles, and apparently the original owner of this restaurant served these same wonton noodles to Chiang Kai-shek himself back in the day, so pretty incredible. But since then there has been a lot of different branches within the family, and we are at the one that is now owned by the eldest son. So you can see our beautiful looking wonton noodles here. We just have those nice little egg noodles, and one thing that these guys are popular for is their tiny little bowls that they serve their wonton noodles in, and then you can see that super delicate wonton, and that is packed with, I think it's just shrimp, but we will find out. So let me just, I gotta try some of these noodles. I'm absolutely starving. Let's try these out. Oh man, the noodles are really thin, but they have quite like a bite to them because they're really not overcooked whatsoever, and they hold the broth surprisingly well considering how thin they actually are. The broth is like a little bit of a kind of a fish stock, I believe. Let me try now the real reason we're here, for one of these wontons. So I'm just gonna try the whole thing by itself. It's almost like a fish ball because that QQ like bounciness to that wonton, and it's a little bit salty too. And the wrapper, you couldn't barely even tell there was a wrapper. It's so delicately thin. Oh man, this is just comfort food here in Hong Kong. Oh, I can smell that. It's almost like a chili vinegar, it smells like. So now, let me try to grab one of these wontons. They're quite hard to handle because they're so delicate. Check out that wrapper. Oh man, it's quite slippery. Maybe I'll actually just grab some of the sauce with my chopsticks, put it on that wonton. Oh yeah, let's try that now. Just a little bit of a heat to it, and then there is definitely some vinegar in there, so it's got a little bit of an acidity, some sourness. This is a killer bowl of wontons. So sometimes you might see online or maybe hear from your friends that the service at restaurants, especially like these small local restaurants in Hong Kong, isn't so good. Well, that restaurant certainly does not live up to that reputation. They were so incredibly friendly there. They were giving us their business cards, taking pictures with us. They were really, really friendly, and it was so good. That broth is so delicate, and not to mention those wontons are incredible, but that certainly wasn't enough to fill us up for breakfast, so we're actually gonna head to another restaurant just down the street here on Hong Kong Island to get a little bit more food. We are on our way to our next stop for breakfast today, and we just stumbled upon this little wet market here in Hong Kong Island. This is called the Bowrington Road Market. It has everything you could imagine in a Chinese style wet market, and this one's really cool because it's actually just directly on the street. And here at this market is a restaurant called Wai Kee, which is a Muslim-friendly halal restaurant. It is inside the Bowrington Road Cooked Food Center, so we're gonna go up there now and order up some really good food. Okay, we are at the next stop today for breakfast, and this, as I mentioned, is a halal friendly restaurant, and what they're serving is, or what we ordered anyway, is beef curry. And generally when I think of Hong Kong, I'm not really gonna think of curry right away, but man, this stuff looks seriously good. So they also serve a mutton version, but this is the beef version, and there's just huge chunks of cartilage, beef meat, and then it's all just swimming in curry, and it smells incredible. Served with a side of rice, of course, and man, my mouth is watering. I've also ordered up a lemon iced tea, Hong Kong style lemon iced tea, which will go nicely with this, so let's dig in. Okay, I'm gonna try a piece of the beef by itself first. Oh man, that is ridiculously tender. Okay, let's mix that with some rice. Maybe a little bit of meat. Get some rice. I can see some chili flakes in there, but it didn't taste too spicy to me. I'm gonna get a little bit more curry if I can. This is like sloppy servings, but that is the way I like it. Let's try that. Oh man. It's not a spicy curry whatsoever. It's just really, really beefy tasting. There is a little bit of that like curry leaf curry flavor, and it's got a little bit of an oiliness to it too. Very creamy. That is comfort food. At the bottom of the bowl here, we've actually got a little bit of potato, or actually I should say a big chunk of potato. So let me put that on the rice. I'm gonna break that in half if I can. Oh man, this curry is mouth-watering. Let's try that. A little bit more curry. Soft potatoes, and I think those were fried first too. That is really good. And once again, owners are really friendly. They just gave us some extra sauce. Whew, that was some seriously good curry. I'm quite full now after that. And this food court is really cool. It's hidden here on Hong Kong Island. It is quite legit, very local, and very busy. And there looks like there's a lot of other good restaurants too that we didn't even try out. So now we are finished off with breakfast. It is time to head to the event. All right, guys, we are dressed, ready to head to the event. Super excited. I do just want to mention that we were sponsored to come here by the Chinese wine company Fen Chiew. We're going to be learning about their wine and tasting their wine, but we're also going to be exploring the rest of the Hong Kong International Wine and Spirits Fair. So let's go. This is our little booth here at the Hong Kong International Wine and Spirits Fair for the Fen Chiew brand. There is, I don't know, hundreds of brands here, and they're from all different places in the world. So after we're done sampling these ones, we're gonna go around and check out the rest of the place. It is really fun to be here already. We are here with a company called Fen Chiew. They are a really historic and famous Chinese Baiju, which is a white wine, a strong white wine company, and they've invited us here. We're gonna sample some of their different wines, but they have a really interesting history. I was just reading about the company, and actually a really famous writer from Hong Kong named Jin Yong, he wrote a story that was extremely famous about Kung Fu, and it mentions that they're drinking this particular type of Chinese Baiju in that book. So I'd like to read it. I've never actually read it myself, but I'll leave the information for it down in the description box if you guys want to look it up and read it yourself. So we're actually going to sample some of their wines now. Let's go try it. We have our first type here. You can see it actually has a little bit of a yellow, almost greenish tinge to it, and that's because this one is 30 years age. This is the bottle here. I love the presentation too. It's really beautiful. So this stuff is, I think it's at 45%, so it's a little bit strong. Let's try it out here. It is a little bit strong, but it's pretty smooth, and it's really like fragrant. You can like feel it all the way up in your nose as you drink it. That was actually surprisingly smooth for 45%. 30 years aged. So this Chinese white wine is made in Shanxi province in a little place called Xinhuacun, which is a tiny town, and they've been making this wine for, it dates back almost 6,000 years, it said. Some poems even reference the town for where you can get some really good wine. And 1400 years ago is when the true Fen Chiew brand started, so this is like a really historic wine, and it's even been named the top ranking wine in China, and it was drank by emperors, so it's quite a privilege to be here and working for them and drinking the wine, and it's delicious too. The way that they make this wine is in the traditional way of kind of storing it and aging it in these big jars, and then putting that actually completely underground, and then it gives it a nice kind of earthy flavor. And like the one we just tried, which was 30 years aged, you could definitely taste a little bit of kind of almost like smokiness. And they also put lots of Chinese herbs and sort of medicinal ingredients into it too, to give it extra flavor. So there's another kind here that I want to try out that's made with bamboo leaves, so let's try that one.
Okay, normally we drink by this one, this size. But if you drink round by round,
okay,
and then
you drink this one, yeah.
to this one.
So this one is just like to taste. The small one is just for a taste. And
not only for taste, also for
everyone to share.
Yes, for
okay.
everyone. Yeah, but if you after rounds by rounds, you get very high, and some people want to ganbei.
Okay. Then you turn it over.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we call this one 竹节杯, because you see this one like a bamboo.
Yeah, it's like a bamboo
shape.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
You wanna try it?
Sure.
How cold is it?
So as one of the representatives here was just explaining, this cup is designed so the top part is smaller. It's just for kind of casually enjoying. And then if, I don't know, it's kind of a party, you can flip it upside down and it's 3 times the quantity under here. I just have a little bit of the bamboo kind you can see in top, also with a little bit of a yellowish tinge. And this is their, this is the cheaper version of the product, and like I said, this one's made with bamboo wine, or bamboo leaves, sorry. So let's try this. Oh, yeah, it tastes similar, but you can tell that it hasn't been aged because it doesn't have kind of that earthy, almost smoky, deep flavor to it. That one is even more smooth, I'd say, than the 30 years aged. So we've actually got a cocktail that was made with the Fen Chiew liquor. This is mixed with a little bit of tonic water, a blue colored liquor, which is orange flavored, and I see some mint and some other herbs on top. It's beautiful looking. And let's try it out and see how it tastes. Oh, yum. Actually, yeah, it does taste like kind of orangey, and it's nice and cold, and the liquor, like the alcoholic like feeling is still there, but the flavor is really just like that orange blue liquor, and a little bit of mint too. It's good. Oh, I like it with the pickle. A little bit of sourness. It's pretty strong, but smooth at the same time. It's If it's aged, it definitely gives it a next dimension of flavor.
Okay. What do you think is differentiating between the Chinese Baiju and others?
So in addition to filming our video here today, we're also doing some promotional stuff for Fen Chiew, and I just did a couple interviews, as you saw. That was a lot of fun, and You know, this stuff is actually really easy to drink. I'm not just saying that, it has a nice flavor. I've drank a lot of baijiu when I was in China, and some of it is just straight up not good, but this stuff at least has some flavor. You can taste those Chinese medicinal herbs in there, those bamboo leaves, and then I really love that they age this one. It gives it a whole nother dimension of flavor. So if you're ever interested in trying baijiu, or if you're in China, try to check out the Fen Chiew brand. We are walking around the rest of the exhibition. This place is absolutely massive, and we are only in one section. So this section is just housing the Italian, French, and the mainland Chinese wines. There is a lot of wine tasting going on around here, a lot of different displays, and it's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I wasn't really aware of this before we came here, but because we are not buyers, we are just part of an exhibition, we can't actually go around and taste everyone else's wine. Unfortunately, it looks like there's a lot of delicious wine here. This is a really cool event, and it is packed. There's a lot of people here. So there is like the buyers and then the exhibition people like us. And I think that's gonna be it for our time here. That was seriously really eye-opening, and thank you to Fen Chiew Wine for sponsoring this. We are pretty hungry though, so we're gonna head now to get some dinner before we leave Hong Kong. For dinner tonight, we have a meat feast. We are at a really famous restaurant here in Hong Kong Island called Joy Hing, and they're famous for their Cantonese roast meats. So check this out, we have an assortment, only 2 kinds, but this is like a small mountain of meat. First off is the char siu, which is that honey glazed pork, that delicious looking, really oily roasted pork, and you can see it's kind of red on the outside, and that's from those that honey and all those spices that they rub it with. And then second up is the duck. Oh man, that is seriously heavy. It is just saturated with oil. I can see it all in my chopsticks already. So that is also a roasted duck, and this just looks too good. We've got it served with some rice here, and then a Hong Kong milk tea. So this should be a good feast. Let's start with the char siu here. I'm gonna grab this piece and put it on my rice. Grab a little bit of rice, and these are nice thick chunks. So let's try that. That's got to be the most tender piece of char siu I've ever had. Usually it's got like a bite to it. It's kind of lean, but that was seriously tender and really oily. A little bit of sweetness as well. I'm gonna try the duck next, and this time I'm gonna dip it in this sauce that's provided over here. I'm guessing this is like a plum sauce. So let's try that. Yum. Oh, that is nice and sweet. That duck is also very moist, just like that char siu. I think this is what this place is really incredibly famous for, is that is such a moist meat. It is extremely saturated with oil, and it has a nice kind of smoky roast flavor to it too. Let me finish off the rest of this duck. Look at that. There's just a big chunk right down there. Oh man. That just falls apart in your mouth. This is a serious meat feast. This place has some really good Cantonese roast meats. I especially like the plum sauce, and I'm gonna try out this Hong Kong style hot milk tea. Oh, yum. Oh man, it's almost like chocolatey, really creamy, a little bit bitter. You can kind of feel like a little bit of like grains in there. It's almost got like a texture to it. Man, this place is really good. I can see why it's so popular. Finish off with our meal here at Joy Hing. That was really good, but I'd have to admit there is a restaurant here in Hong Kong that we haven't filmed yet, but we've eaten at a couple times, called Yat Lok, and I prefer that roast meat shop to Joy Hing because it's just got a really crispy skin. This place is good, really moist, saturated meat. So make sure if you tried either of them to let me know down in the comment box, or if there's another restaurant in Hong Kong for roast meat that you prefer, let me know what's your favorite down in the comment box. Today was a lot of fun. We had so much fun at the wine fair, and I hope you enjoyed following us around for this really quick tour. We were only here for 24 hours. We have to head to the airport now. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.